Hello, Winterfest students. I'm excited to get to talk to you about a spiritual discipline that maybe you don't practice all that much, or maybe you haven't thought about it as a spiritual discipline, but it's the discipline of the Sabbath, practicing the Sabbath. You see, in our culture today, many of us don't even know how to practice the Sabbath, or we think of it as a practice that's outdated, or that maybe we could never formally figure it out because maybe we're not Jewish, right? And so we don't think that this is part of the practice of the Christian faith. And yet I think it's one of those practices in our life that if we could ever grasp how to make this part of our weekly rhythm, to take time to break away from the busyness of life, to basically say to culture that's telling us our most highest value is when we're productive, when we're getting things done, when we're checking off the task list. If we could actually find a moment where we broke away from all that and said, look, I'm not going to be governed by the values of the world. I'm going to practice a discipline in my life, a spiritual discipline, where I'm going to take time to break away, to just give myself space to commune with God, to do things that bring life to me, that remind me of whose I am, of who I am, of what I love, of what brings joy to me and what also brings joy to my Father. That if we would start to practice that as Christians, it's not only a discipline that helps fill our life and starts to fill us up, but it gives us the opportunity to be restored ourselves. We're all broken. We're going through busy weeks. We all have lots of demands and stress and so much going on in our lives that if we don't take a moment to say, look, God, I'm not responsible to get it all done. That part of who I am is meant to have rest in you and to trust you and to rely on you to restore me, because if I'm restored, if I know I'm in this relationship with you and I'm restored, then maybe I can be a part of restoring the world in the way you've designed me to do it. You know, the other interesting thing about this particular practice is that it's a practice that gives public witness to what you believe. It's one of those practices that I think the world's yearning to have. We're all busy, we're stressed out, we've got our phones on 24/7, we're online, we're nonstop. And in a culture of human productivity where that's valued the most, one of the best ways we can stand against that, though, is to be countercultural by practicing the Sabbath. And I think it provokes interesting questions. I think people are curious. They genuinely go, why didn't you text me back yesterday? Why didn't you come over when I invited you over? And your response is, I needed to take a break. I needed time for myself. No homework, no studying, no anything that's worked for you, you don't do it. And you take a break and you break away from the world. And in doing that, I think it not only will refresh and inspire your soul and your spirit, but you'll actually accomplish way more. You'll be more productive if that's what you want. I don't think that's necessarily what God cares about, but it actually has the fruit of you being more clear in how you're thinking, the ability to be refreshed as you engage in new relationships, and the ability to have a moment to just appreciate all the wonderful joys and the ways that God's made you. So I hope as you go throughout this next year that you'll make this one of those practices in your life that you begin to take if you never have.